Hello, friends. Today we are going to read The Terrible Two, pages 159 to 176. Ready? Let's begin.
Chapter 27. Miles had never even heard of before-school detention. Technically, that wasn't even detention. You had to be at school already to be detained. What would you call it? Prevention? Apprehension? Incarceration? What was he going to tell his mom? He walked to the bathroom. Niles Sparks was sitting on a sink. Miles was too tired to be surprised. How did you know I'd come here? First place I'd go if I got all those detentions, Niles said. Miles went to the next sink and turned on the cold tap. There was only a cold tap. He looked in the mirror. He did not look well. He needed sleep. And now he was going to have to wake up early so he could make it to detention. Listen, Niles, he said. I surrender. Sorry, said Niles. I don't accept. Niles, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to have time to prank anymore. You win. Please, let's end the prank war. Niles grinned. Oh, we can end the prank war. But you just... I don't accept your surrender. Niles held out his hand. Truce. But... Oh, come on, Niles said. Buck up. So I'm ahead right now. You would have gotten me eventually. Miles wasn't sure that was true. It's true, Niles said. I keep telling you, you've got real talent. You understand people, and you're quick on your feet. That bacon flyer for Coach O? Brilliant. The 10 plagues excuse? I could never have made that up on the spot. He shrugged. I'm more of a planner. Yeah? Yeah. I never wanted this prank war to begin with. Pranksters like us shouldn't be stepping on each other's wingtips. Miles splashed some water on his face. A lot of so-called pranksters, said Niles. They just flush a cherry bomb down that toilet and spend the rest of the school year high-fiving themselves. But we've got ambition. We're visionaries. Miles had always thought of himself as a bit of a visionary. Miles, we need each other. We need each other? I thought you were always saying how much you can teach me. Oh, I can, Niles said. Miles rolled his eyes. Look, I can teach you things. You can teach me things. Together we'll prank better. We complement each other. Blah, blah, blah. Great, whatever. That's not why we need each other. The faucet ran. Why then? Miles asked. I need a friend, Niles was matter-of-fact. And so do you. Pranking is better with a buddy. Niles held out his hand. Truce? If Miles shook, well, that was that. They wouldn't just be school buddies, they'd be real buddies. Miles took a good look at the kid perched on the sink. He'd never met anyone like him. A sash-wearing kiss-up, with the secret brain of a pranking mastermind, a visionary, a weirdo. Did Miles Murphy really want to be friends with a kid like Niles Sparks? Truce. They shook. Niles hopped off the sink. Great! I'm going to go get you off the hook with Barkin. Oh, wait, how? Pretty sure it's a violation of Chapter 13, Section 2 of the Disciplinary Code, to punish you when there's only circumstantial evidence. What? You know, stuff that implies you committed a crime but doesn't prove it. I'm going to tell him we should give you some slack and try to catch you red-handed so we can forget about detention and just expel you. He'd love to expel you. Miles shut off the tap. Okay, and so I guess then I just lay low for a while? No way, Niles said, bound for the door. You and I are going to pull the biggest prank Yawny Valley's ever seen. Fact 921. The average person eats 48 pints of ice cream a year. Guess who we can thank for all that ice cream? Cows! Have you thanked a cow today? Fact 922. No two cows have the same set of spots. Their spot patterns are like fingerprints. This is good to know in case a cow robs your bank. Fact 923. Cows do not rob banks. Chapter 28. The next morning, there was a rubber chicken in Miles's locker. At 3:30, Miles rang the doorbell of the big blue house at 47 Buttercream Lane. Niles answered, sashless. You made it. Miles held up the chicken. I learned the telephone cipher in kindergarten. You didn't have to bring the chicken. Oh yeah, I forgot. Come in. The Sparks residence was tidy and quiet. Niles led Miles through room after white-carpeted room. Beige sofas, big TVs, bar stools that swiveled, blonde wood and white leather. This is the TV lounge. That's a half bath. Here's the kitchen. Are your parents home? Miles asked. Yeah, Dad's in his office. Mom's in her office. He pointed in opposite directions. They work from home. Do you want something to drink? We have a bunch of drinks. A soda? I have regular soda and diet soda. Or I have a bunch of natural sodas, which are pretty good, actually. But then I figured you might not drink soda, so I got us a bunch of different juices. And I could make you an Arnold Palmer, which is half lemonade and half iced tea, if you're allowed to drink iced tea. I guess I'll just have a glass of water, Miles said. Tap water or sparkling water? Tap water's fine. Niles was clearly disappointed. Actually, sparkling sounds good. Great! Miles and Niles sat on the counter and drank water with bubbles. So, said Niles, I've never had a friend over to my house before. Is this going okay? Sure, said Miles. Is this fun? I mean, I thought we should hang out, but I don't know if this is fun. It's fun. Niles took a sip of water. No, it's not. Come on, I'll show you something cool. Niles's bedroom looked like it belonged to another house. The carpet had been ripped up to reveal a cherry wood floor that was dark and shiny. There was a deep red rug with golden swirls, a desk and a bed, and a big armchair that looked very old. 2 large speakers hooked up to a complicated audio system, the tallest globe Miles had ever seen. The rest was books. Books piled high in stacks that leaned against the walls and reached almost to the ceiling. If there was an organizing principle to Niles's library, Miles couldn't see it. In one column he saw an atlas, 3 novels by Louise Fitzhugh, accents and dialects for stage and screen, a joke book, 2 copies of SEO Trot, and volumes on cacti, the Hittites, and thoroughbred racehorses. This is amazing, Miles said. This isn't the cool part yet. Niles opened a door next to his desk. After you. What's in there? Miles asked. Technically it's a walk-in closet, but I don't really need a walk-in closet. So what's in there? You'll see. Miles's scalp tingled. Was this a prank? Wait, was this all a prank? What if he walked in there and got a bucket of glitter dropped on him? Or Niles locked the door behind him and 100 tarantulas poured out from the walls? Miles walked into the closet. Niles closed the door behind them, and everything was dark. He pulled a chain that turned on a light bulb that hung from the ceiling. The 4 walls and the ceiling were covered in chalkboard paint, and Miles was surrounded by words and diagrams and maps, all in Niles's tidy handwriting. Some of it was in code. Some was in English. There were a couple of lines in what was maybe French. Directly behind Niles's head was an illegible chart labeled Operation Floss Across the Water. Written in a corner behind a milk crate full of dark socks, a prank that takes place only in the victim's mind. Miles steadied himself against the wall, careful not to smudge anything. It was like walking into a 3-dimensional pranking journal. Welcome to the prank lab. Niles turned over 2 crates and sat on the yellow one. Miles took the blue. "All right," Niles said. "Are you ready to swear the prankster's oath?" "Wait, there really is a prankster's oath?" Niles pulled a yellowed slip of paper out of a penny loafer on the floor. "Of course. Nobody knows who wrote it or when, but it comes from the International Order of Disorder, a loose confederacy of pranksters that flourished a couple of centuries ago. Raise your left hand." "Shouldn't it be my right hand?" "That's for normal oaths. You know what right is in French? Droit. That means law, but this is the prankster's oath. We're outlaws. The Latin word for left is sinistra, like sinister. That's us, the mischief makers." Miles raised his left hand. "Repeat after me. On my honor, I will do my best to be good at being bad, to disrupt but not destroy, to embarrass the dour and amuse the merry, to devote my mind to japes, capers, shenanigans, and monkey business, to prove the world looks better turned upside down, for I am a prankster. So be it." "So be it," said Miles. "Perfect," said Niles. "I hereby declare us the sole members of the Yawny Valley chapter of the International Order of Disorder, hereafter known as the Terrible Two." "Great," said Miles. Said Niles. "I feel like we need a secret handshake or something." "Yeah." They sat on their crates and thought. "I've got it," said Miles. "Hold up 2 fingers." Niles did. Miles did too. He touched his fingertips to Niles's. "High five," said Miles. "But that's just a high 2, said Niles. "Roman numeral 5, said Miles. Miles grinned. Niles laughed. It was official. And so the Terrible Two got to planning their first prank. Chapter 29. Niles stood up. "What's the best holiday?" Miles could tell it was a rhetorical question. Niles continued. "April Fool's Day." "Obviously." Miles nodded. "On April 1st, 1698, said Niles. "In England, everyone was invited to the big moat outside the Tower of London to see the lions get washed. That morning, a huge crowd showed up. This was going to be great, except there are no lions in the Tower of London, and also, you don't really wash lions." "No lions, just a bunch of goats," said Miles. Niles smiled. "Yeah, exactly. Standing around a stinky ditch. It was the first April Fool's prank. And ever since, April 1st has been for pranks and hoaxes and practical jokes. As a holiday, there's only one thing wrong with it." "What's that?" asked Miles. "We don't get the day off school." Niles erased a section of one wall with his sleeve. "So, how do we pull a prank so big? School gets canceled." 2 hours later, Miles was sitting in the old armchair and Niles was pacing around his room. There was an empty bowl on the floor, and potato chip crumbs and a bunch of crushed soda cans. On one wall of the prank lab was a red square filled with ideas for pranks. But none of them were good, or at least not good enough. "Well, last time school got canceled, there was a blizzard, right?" said Miles. "Maybe this is stupid, but is there any way we could control the weather?" Niles thought for a while. "No," he said. "I heard they have machines that can do that in China, but I don't see how we could get our hands on one." "What if we blocked all the entrances, like you did with Barkin's car?" Said Niles. "And by the way, how did you get Barkin's car up there?" "Let's stay focused," said Niles. "Okay, so we block it with monster trucks." "Too hard to obtain," Niles said. "Plus, everyone could just go underneath them. We could brick up the doors, but that's too much damage." "Those crickets weren't bad. I mean, 1,000 crickets wouldn't shut down school, but what about 1,000,000 crickets?" "That would cost over $10,000. Plus, we'd be repeating ourselves. We need to think bigger." "Bigger than 1,000,000? "Bigger than crickets." "Cows," Miles said. "What?" cows. But cows can walk upstairs, but they can't walk down. Niles stopped pacing. How do you know that? Miles unzipped his backpack and pulled out the very crumpled 1,346 Interesting Things You May or May Not Know About Cows booklet. Niles tossed Miles a piece of chalk. Let's figure this out. 2 weeks, 6 boxes of cereal, 4 bags of chips, 1 original, 3 sour cream and onion, and a tub of red licorice later. They'd covered 1 whole wall of the prank lab. This was going to be great.